Hello, welcome to Pensions in 10 with me, David Brooks, and my colleague Kelly Parsons. This week we take a look at what's happening in the world of salary sacrifice. We look at latest guidance from DWP and TPR on the transitions to scale. And finally, we heed the warning from the regulator on impersonation fraud. Okay, salary sacrifice is back on the menu. So there's been some discussion of this in the Lords and changes to the cap. So Kelly, can you bring us up to speed? What's been going on?
Yeah, exactly. Last week it's been going back and forth between the Lords and the Commons, and the Lords have now recommended, which I think I'm quite pleased about this. So they're going to increase the cap potentially up from 2,000 through to 5,000, which means a lot less people are going to be impacted by this. But also, I mean, this one of the reasons why salary sacrifice is in place is because it's there to encourage people to pay more into their pension. When you're adding these caps at low level, it kind of makes people go, oh God, this all feels a bit complicated. It's complicated for members, it's complicated for employers, and we're really trying to encourage people to pay into their pensions, but also want to save employers a little bit of money. There, a lot of them are a bit strapped for cash at the moment with everything that's gone on. So if they do, I think it would be good news for us and for the industry if we did actually increase that cap. And having run the numbers, I do think that the numbers that will be impacted is going to massively change. It'll only be real big contributions that do get impacted now, or if they do decide to increase those numbers. Actually, when the Lords actually said this, they actually went, we would prefer it to not even be in place, this cap of any nature. So their recommendation in the first instance would be to remove it or scrap the idea, or increase the cap to 5,000. Yeah, it's
I find it a funny one.
mm,
I find it a funny one when I think about it, because it kind of got pegged to sort of helping low, low income earners. But £5,000
mm,
of cap still seems quite high for a low income earner. So
yeah,
it does. Then my issue with that is, okay, so the government have a policy aim
mm,
of raising or saving, probably
mm,
more in the right way, just saving X billion in a few years' time, when it all goes through. The value of that saving was already a bit fragile because of
mm,
actions that employers could have taken to mitigate it. And then you increase the cap. So any projections of what they're going to get would actually then reduce quite dramatically because you
significantly, yeah.
get the actions you could do to mitigate it. Plus, anyone who's left in will be only the relatively high earners or high contributors, whichever way the balance is. Um, and then we have a hole, and then the government will
Mm,
need to do something, and so they need to do something else now. And whether they'll look again at employer national insurance,
mm,
maybe it feels like the next thing to look at if you're trying to look at that little space.
yeah.
Or whether they do something that's been talked about in the round for a while is extends national insurance contributions to people who are over state pension age for their earned
Mm,
income, um, to raise some money, because obviously there is a short, the money we spend on welfare, state pensions, and then
yeah.
health. There is a decent argument, I think, for people that are working to put some money into that, no matter how old you are. So
Mhm.
it's possible that other policies then come back into scope for the government to look at, to raise the money that they projected they're going to have in X years time, which is all part of the modelling about how robust our economy is. So there's now
Mhm.
going to be a hole. So, well, possibly going to be a hole if it goes through. Um,
Yeah,
so
very true. Yeah, I don't know how they'll
mm,
feel that. And I mean, talking about salary sacrifice though, I mean, you can't salary sacrifice below a certain level, and those are the lower earners. And it's a
mm,
shame really that they're impacted. So possibly they could think of ways of allowing people to opt into salary exchange or salary sacrifice, um, even if it brings people below minimum wage, but then that kind of creates issues as well. So it's the other end of the scale. I don't know. Yeah, they need to think about those kind of things. If they could
mm,
sort that out, that would be great. Yeah, allow people to opt into salary exchange, even if they are going to be reduced below minimum wage.
mm.
Is that possible?
Feels messy. Feels
Feels
messy.
messy, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Haven't thought about that one. I'll have a think.
Mm.
Okay, next up, we're going to quickly look at what DWP and TPR have been saying around transition pathways. So this is for
Mhm.
um, default funds in master trusts and the like. who need to get to scale by 2030, need to have 25 billion assets under management. So yeah, I was doing that because I was trying to ring fence the bit that we're going to talk about, but I also didn't want to steal your thunder, Kelly. So you tell me what that little box is. That's actually quite a large box that I was just
That-
strangely
that
doing.
li- yeah. So that little box is for those that are not at scale yet. At the moment, we're just got to. They've got to have a clear pathway for how they're going to get to scale. They've given some rules and regulations around the projections that they can use, but they're also saying, the regulator, that we're not to assume that they're not going to make it to scale, and that they should be included, etc. As long as they have got this clear pathway and what it looks like, and there's all the different parameters that they can use with regards to how they get there, what the process needs to be. There's quite a few different things that they can include in their projections, and what have you. But as I say, like us brokers, we need to make sure that we're inclusive of all of these ones and making sure that everyone's given a fair shot at it, really, to be able to get to those levels when we're doing reviews and what have you.
Yeah, and it is this interesting area now we've got. So we know this is this 4 years time. So it doesn't feel like very long that schemes have to be at this scale point or
Yeah.
with a credible plan to get so in the next 5 years if they've got 10 billion, I think. So it's this bunch, and looking at the only assets for this, my box was the MSDA bit. The
Rightio. Sorry. Yeah.
I've forgotten
Okay.
what it stands for. MSDA stands for.
Main scale default arrangement. So it's basically what can be used as a qualifying investment that's classified at getting to scale. So those investments are basically the default funds. So it's got to be where the auto enrollment money is going into. And when you speak to a provider, they will provide you with, sometimes they'll give you the whole book of business of what they've got, and classify that as scale. Well, actually, when you drill into it a little bit, actually the main scale default arrangement might be a much smaller cut of that. So we've got to, just make sure we're looking at the right things, really.
Yeah, but I think this market distortion point you're making is really important because it's difficult for us because we don't want to be preempting where the market is going, but also the providers that are close will have credible plans to get there. But
Yeah.
we know even if you look at all the credible plans and you add up all the people that they're expecting to have assets, the people they're meant to have assets with them, members with them, there are going to be winners and losers. Of all those plans, there's too many members in there in all these
Yeah.
plans, so someone isn't going to make it, and it puts us in a very difficult position. Dealing with employers, trying to advise them for the future, but being able to do that credibly, and without having any reputational risk on us in the future of saying, well, you put us with this lot, and now they've moved and they've been bought by somebody else. It's a really tricky position, and there is going to be. I think it's almost natural there will be some kind of market distortion from the advisor side to the employer side as they try to pick who to go with. And I think that's a sad thing and this is almost inevitable when governments meddle with private markets and private industries. This is going to happen, but TPR is quite strong that we should be trying to second guess these business plans too much. I think we should have cognizance to them, but not so trying to second guess them too much.
Yeah, agreed. Right, Dave. I think there's been a lot of press around fraud and a lot of it going on in the industry. Do you want to just give us a bit of an overview of what's been happening?
Yeah, so this is the second time in recent months the regulators mentioned impersonation fraud. I think they said something last year about it, but they've said something again. It seems to be on the rise. So this is where the fraudsters are setting up fake accounts and fake user profiles to get money out of people's pensions. It seems to be affecting people based in Africa the most. So if you have a membership with an African bias towards the membership, it's definitely an area to look out for. But I don't think that should necessarily preclude everyone else from taking action. So the regulator is saying to schemes we need to make sure we're stronger with our identification checks when members are coming through, but also that we're reporting these things to Action Fraud. They did a digital campaign as well in February, talking about reporting activities to Action Fraud. So we'll try and put some links in the comment on the LinkedIn profile of this to some of those things to make sure that trustees are aware. But we definitely should be making sure that members are aware. So member newsletters and member comms, next time you do something, do remind people to keep their personal details safe. And if they've got logons for member portals and these kind of things, make sure that they're secure. And if they've got any doubts, I think their data might have been misused, then get hold of us. Let us know. so we can be alert as administrators and any other administrators you have to make sure they're alert to the fact that your data might have been misappropriated by somebody, and we can make sure that the protocols are in place to make sure it's robust. And your acts. That's the thing. I think people can be a little bit blasé, I suppose, with sort of member portals and these kind of things with passwords. And I think don't be as strict with those as you are with your banking ones and other things you might use. Where there's lots of personal information in your member portal. And you can contact and get information out of us. You can't, in our member portal, you can't take money out, but there are other portals and you can instruct transactions. So make sure you're changing those passwords frequently, making sure they're difficult, multi-factor authentication where you can, all these sorts of things to protect yourself from these fraudsters.
Yeah, good shout. They're getting more sophisticated, aren't they, these fraudsters? So good advice, top tips.
Okay, thank you for listening and watching this week. We hope you found those stories useful. Don't forget, you can always go to our website and you can subscribe to get these in your inbox every Wednesday. If not, please like and share here on LinkedIn while you're watching it, and make sure your colleagues and friends can watch as well. And we'll see you again next time. Thank you.